Elie Wiesel said, "The opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference." Hmm, indifference. Let's hear a little conversation, and on the flip side, I'll share some thoughts.
Well, there's something that happens. I mean, there's something fascinating that happens with the nature of violence, which is that it's like something shatters around you, is my view. I mean, it happens even in, a bar fight. The first time somebody throws a fist, everything changes. And our late friend Clive James was in Cambridge in 1968 when the Garden Hotel riots happened, which was big news in Cambridge at the time, but not everybody historically remembers it. There was 68ers, they were imitating it in Cambridge, England. For some reason, they protested outside this hotel, and somebody threw a brick at the hotel. And I remember Clive said that's when everything changed. The nature of violence suddenly was on the table. And I think that if you're a student at Columbia or whatever, the really interesting thing, I think I said to you the other day, the really interesting thing I think that's happening at the moment is that they've picked up an interesting tactic of Hamas. And I think Eric Weinstein said this first, but they've picked up a tactic which is, Hamas's tactic is, please kill my people for the cameras. Or even kill me for the cameras, or kill my son for the cameras. And students at Columbia and elsewhere seem to be saying, hit me or hurt me, policeman, for the cameras. So it is actually a sort of low-level version of something which at a much more brutal level is a tactic.
And the tactic, I think we should explain to the viewers, is a tactic that's been utilized by Hamas for decades, which is to fight, to use human beings as shields, civilians as shields, hide behind children, put their military facilities in mosques, in hospitals, in schools, in markets, knowing full well that when Israel retaliates, that it's these children who will be killed, and then there's the horror of war would be then on the screens of Western consumers of the news.
Yeah.
And that propaganda element of them condemning Israel is what works for them. So you are saying, and Eric is saying, that that tactic is now being deployed by.
Yes.
So, a couple of points over here. One is, of course, kill me or kill my children for the camera, right? Of course, manipulating and using propaganda in a manner to make your opponent, the one that you hate, look bad, look guilty, and that you're the victim when it's really the other way around. So that we get, but what we don't get is the indifference. How do you be indifferent to that? How is it that media will know, full well knowing that it is propaganda, be a party to it? Where does that come from? So is the hate so great for the other that you will show indifference to something that is obviously a manipulation, is obviously propaganda, and you turn a blind eye to it? That's what the media does. That's what people do who invoke the the victimhood of Hamas, victimhood of so-called Palestinians. That is already something that much you could do with it because it's such a falsehood. It's such a lack of integrity that there's not much you can do but call it out. But too many people are indifferent about it. Too many people don't care. The beginning for me of being truly human is that you care. So some would say, well, care for the children in Gaza, care for the innocents. Absolutely. And Hamas is to blame. This is the propaganda that they're using. They're putting innocent lives at risk, or on the contrary, let those innocent lives of their own children die for the camera so we get a good shot. So yeah, we care. But the question is, where are you putting the blame? Or who are you pointing it at? The ones who are making themselves victims, when really they're the oppressors, the victimizers. And why would people do that? Only because they have an agenda. It is very, people, everybody wants to be good. You want to feel good. The problem is, to be good is what counts. So it feels good to be there for 2 million innocent victims in Gaza that have no place to live now. Thousands of innocents, children and women, have been killed. So it feels good to be there for them. But feeling good is not being good. They're worlds apart. Be good is going to take a lot of effort and a lot of honesty. That's where we need to go. That's the direction. Let's all be good. How? Let's work, every one of us, on doing something good for another, an act of kindness for another, not an act of standing up and yeah. Back in the day, a guy gets a knock on the door, and it's a guy who's really needy. He says, hey, sir, could you spare some water? Maybe you got a sandwich that I could have? And the guy was just packing up his stuff. He says, well, I'm sorry, sir. I'm busy. I'm going out to protest to save all of the distinct walruses that are in the North Pole, that if I don't stand and protest for them, woe unto the world. Yeah, but there's a world right in front of you of a person who's hungry. It doesn't feel good to take care of one person's hunger if I could save all of humanity because I saved the walruses that are going to become distinct. I just made up the walruses, I don't know, right? That feels good. That feels like I'm saving the world. And people want to be involved in that. But there's one person in front of you who legitimately needs a sandwich, and you're going to have an effort to maybe put on some bread, some peanut butter, and whatever else. But that's being good. That's doing good. That takes effort. And it might be only just one person. But if you look at that person as a complete whole universe created in the image of God, then you'll be there for that one person before you'll be there to save all the world. That's what we're stuck with. Got to save the world. And of course, got to save the world from the Jews because they're the oppressors. They're the wealthy ones. They're the smart ones. They're the ones who have everything going for them. And of course, they're abusing and oppressing others because of that. Got to save the world. Save one person. Do an act of kindness for one.